Swapmeets,
retro game shows,
collectors events. This is what I'm talking about today. Swapmeets are these events where usually a bigger company will rent out a location like a convention center, and then a bunch of vendors from like around the area or sometimes like around the world, they'll come through and then they'll sell their stuff. And this also happens at conventions too, like Comic-Cons. I go to a lot of these Swapmeets, and it's been a thing I've been doing for the last at least like 5 years, I want to say. I go to these events usually with my friends. I have a cousin that he also likes game collecting, and we just go to these events because you never know what you're gonna find, and you find some really good stuff at Swapmeets. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about Swapmeets. I'm gonna talk about my experiences with Swapmeets, what I think the current state of the Swapmeet industry is in, and just a lot of positive and negatives from my experiences with Swapmeets. And I'm from Canada, so I don't know how it is everywhere else. I think it's bigger down in the States, but I'm from Canada, close to Toronto. This is what I'm talking about today. Thank you for watching still. But right now, I would not advise, if you are not in a good financial situation, don't go to these Swapmeets because these game prices are hella high, brah. They are really inflated. Some would say this is what they're worth. The prices are very high, especially on like even the earlier stuff. And like it makes sense because a lot of this stuff is hard to find now and it's limited quantity, but the prices are very high. So that's a very negative thing, first off, that I want to say about Swapmeets. But on the plus side, it's a very nostalgic thing to like walk around and kind of see the different games. And then like sometimes you'll see a game from like your childhood and be like, oh yeah, I remember that game. That game was awesome. You'll see games from like every era. So like some people, they only sell Nintendo, some people only sell Xbox games. There's a lot of great stuff from back in the day, and a lot of it holds up now if you have the old consoles and everything still. And it's a good way to find like a good affordable game, because I find a lot of Switch games at these Swapmeets, and usually like a little bit more affordable than if I were to buy retail. So that's one reason I like going there, to find games that I want to play. Also the whole thrill, the hunt kind of idea. And also like meeting people who are into the same thing as you. Like sometimes it's fun just walking around to a table and then like hearing someone else's like reaction to like a game that's there. From the last one I went to, the box for the Clay Fighter 64 Sculptor's Cut was there. Just the box, and the guy was like asking way over $5,000 Canadian. So like I just thought that was like whoa, geez, chill. I told him that the last Swapmeet I went to, they had the manual there, just the manual, and it was like $7,000. And the guy told me straight, I was like, I would have bought it. And I'm like, you're crazy. Anyway, I mean back to what I'm talking about. What am I talking about? Swapmeets. There's great finds. You can find modern games there too. I got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for like $65, and that game is still full price. And it's a great game. And Donkey Kong is great. And it's all cash. It's all cash transactions. The government won't know that you made those purchases, if that's a thing you are worried about. But there's a lot of negatives too with Swapmeets. Like, first of all, it's a business. I made a recording before this one, and I talked about it is all just about money at the end of the day. Like, these people are there to make money. They want to sell their stock. They want to sell their product. And so like sometimes you might try to talk to someone and they're just kind of like, you don't know how long they've been there for. They could have been there for 8 hours, not made a single sale that day. So like, when I said earlier about like it's cool to meet people, yeah, it's nice to talk to people, but like you kind of have to gauge the situation, because if the guy doesn't like really want to talk, you don't talk to the dude. I've had bad experiences where like they're either like kind of dismissive of you, or like they just don't want to talk to you, or like they're just like weird. And you care that like some random person's a dick to you, then don't go to Swapmeets and start talking to people. Like that's not a place where you should like work on your social skills, because a lot of people there are also in the same kind of like, shut in kind of thing, which also makes the place stink. That's another thing I wrote down. Sometimes the place stinks. Like it just smells like BO. People are kind of weird. They give off weird energy, but it's like, that's our community, Also, traveling to these events are also kind of a little bit of a drive. Like last couple were in Guelph. I went to one in Dundas. I went to another one in Kitchener. Like they're all over the place, and the freaking parking lots are like the worst places to be, because the parking just sucks. Oh, I thought I wasn't recording there for a second. Like, whoa. The parking always sucks. People are always like kind of like antsy, because everyone wants the deals, but the deals aren't there anymore, guys. Listen, I knew a guy who did these things. I wonder how he's doing. I should reach out to him. But I knew a guy who was a vendor, and he told me specifically that all the good deals happen before the doors even open. So like the vendors are making deals with each other, and they're playing a game, and you're not gonna find a deal. You're not gonna find that nice guy who will just sell you a copy of Street Fighter for $5, you know? That's not gonna happen anymore. Like, it's a business. Everything is taken into account. Everyone's aware of like, you know, complete in box and what copies of, you know, the NES World Championship cartridges have the, you know, markers on it. I think there's like one with like someone wrote their name with a permanent marker on the championship game cards. Like they're aware of everything. They're aware of everything that you gotta do and say to make the most money you can. So like that's the thing with Swapmeets in 2023 is it's very business, very expensive environment, and you're dealing with massive crowds. Like I am constantly almost walking into people when I'm at these places. Like it's so hard to like figure out where to go. It's hard to figure out where to like where the line starts because everyone kind of like does like cafeteria style, you know what I mean? It's just like it's ingrained in us as humans to do go cafeteria style. Like, okay, I'm behind you and I'm moving along and it's just a very like a lot of stimulation. Like if you get overwhelmed a lot, there's a lot of stimulation at these events too. And yeah, man, like I found a lot of good stuff. The last swap meet I went to, I found, I think the most expensive thing I bought was the Crash Bandicoot trilogy for like $35 on Switch physical. I got a Super Nintendo controller. I buy the games that I want to play, and that's what I would suggest for people to do if they want to go to these events. To just get the games you want to play. Don't try to play it like, don't try to do it like a stock market. I don't know why amiibos are so expensive. There's always an amiibo table at every event. That's one thing I've always come to expect. Yeah, like swap meets are fun. They're fun to go to, very expensive. Also very hard to bring your stuff there and get like money for it. I found a bag of Xbox 360 and PS3 games, and I brought it to one of these events and nobody would give me anything for them. I mean, they're all very like basic, like Xbox 360, PS3 games. If you go in there and you want to have a good time with some friends, you know, swap meets are great. And I wouldn't be talking about them if I didn't love them. So like, this is my swap meet rant video ending now. Thanks for watching. I haven't been putting out content because I'm exhausted with life, and life is tiring, and I could be playing the new Mario Kart tracks right now, but I'm going to be editing this video and getting it to you guys because I love you all. Bye.